Hi, my name is Camille, and I want to tell you a complicated story of one family. But before I begin my story, subscribe to the channel and like it. Before I left the warm nest and found my own way, I was in the care of my parents. They loved me very much, as well as my little brother. No matter what happened, I always knew Mom and Dad would come to my rescue. The only thing we didn't agree on were my interests. I spent most of my childhood in front of the computer, but not playing games and watching shows like normal kids, but programming. I loved creating things out of lines of code. I was thrilled when a simple set of commands suddenly turned into a program that could help me order pizza online. To my parents, all this was incomprehensible. They were old school people. Dad worked as an engineer in a factory and mostly dealt with mechanics. Mom was a kindergarten teacher. "I don't understand," said my father to me. "How can you make money with programming? You create an application, then you add it to the store, and people start paying money for it." I tried to explain, but my father refused to understand. For him, only the things you could touch with your own hands were worth something, like airplanes or frying pans. But as for the app that helped me choose the best pizza, it remained a mystery to him. He used to get it, the old-fashioned way, by car. Mom was not far behind. "It does sound serious. Who's it going to help?" "I don't know, but it's fun," I answered, not really counting that fun would be an important factor for my mother, especially when it came to the profession. "Does it pay real money or digital money?" I wanted to say that you can get paid in digital kittens currency, but I thought that would make me look crazy. But in spite of all that, I continued to do programming. My parents, even though dreamt that I would become a surgeon, didn't stop me. I was free to do whatever I wanted and create all sorts of cool things. For example, an app that could pick up a movie based on a picture of your face. The camera would read your mood and choose which movie to watch. When you're frowning, for example, it recommends Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And when you're happy, it recommends The Simpsons. I wasn't an only child. I had a brother, Leon, my complete opposite. My parents' last hope. Already at 12, he dreamt of becoming a rocket scientist. "That's a real profession," my father used to say at family dinners. Well, yes, I began to interrupt, as usual. Flying to the moon is so practical, or making nuclear bombs that could destroy the Earth. My father frowned back. "Someday, Leon's rocket will take mankind to Mars. Or he'll just bomb our house." That's when Mom usually intervened. "Imagine, today a boy decided to eat all the clay in kindergarten. We had to flush his stomach." This diffused the atmosphere in the house, and we laughed at the poor child who decided that clay is like marshmallow. Against my parents' wishes, I went to university and decided I was going to study programming. That's when they gave up on me, like I had some kind of incurable disease. On weekends, I would come home. At family dinners, my parents would talk about anything but my activities. "It looks like it's gonna be a very cold winter," Dad said. "We should plant roses in the backyard," Mom suggested. Leon suddenly added, "Now they can bring back the rocket stages, so they don't have to build new ones every time. It saves an awful lot of money." I used to interrupt him. "Very interesting." "Camille," my mother rebuked me. "Go on, son. That's all." "Well done." My father patted his hair approvingly. "The hope of our family." I'd start getting all worked up, and one of my parents would try to calm me down. "We love you too, Camille. We can't all build rockets." "He's not building anything. He's just playing with toys." "That's for now. And then in his rocket." "We're going to Mars. Yeah, I've heard that one before. You should have asked me how I was doing." And that's how every weekend dinner went. At one point, I even decided not to come home. I was so tired of hearing how smart Leon was and how he was the hope of the family. The hope for what? I didn't understand that. But I didn't stop going to my parents' house, because then they would get mad at me. Fortunately, at university, I met Marie. She was from Japan, but she remembers almost nothing about her country. She was 3 years old when her family moved. Marie and I became friends right away. She, like me, liked to create all sorts of funny things. But only, unlike me, she studied design. "Have you noticed how boring everyone here is?" said my friend as we were sitting in the student cafeteria eating unappetizing sandwiches. Yeah, it's a little boring. We need to create something big to shake up the sleepy kingdom. Yeah, but what? I had hundreds of ideas, but they were all stupid.
Maybe it's a good thing that they're stupid.
My parents would disagree with you. It only makes sense to them if they can touch it. After a month, we finally figured out what we were going to do.
A toy rental app?
Marie asked in surprise when I told her about the idea I had. Yes, toys are so expensive. Plus, that way, people will be less likely to buy all the plastic crap that they usually throw out after a month.
I always wanted to have a dollhouse,
but my parents had no money for it, my friend said sadly, remembering her childhood. You could rent it for a week, play with it, and then give it back.
There's something to that.
We agreed that the idea was cool and set out to make it happen. I worked on the app, and Marie created a colorful and user-friendly design. After 1 month, everything was ready. All that was left was to find clients. We started with a university, realizing we shouldn't try to conquer the whole world at once. When the first orders began to pop up, we discovered a problem that we hadn't thought of for some reason. Who would deliver the orders? We would have to find a way to get by ourselves. I'll borrow my brother's bike, I told Marie. I didn't say anything about my project to my parents. I knew exactly what they would say. They just started to get over my career choice. They were totally focused on Leon. He got so much attention from them that I thought in a few years he was going to explode like a bomb. And who knows what the consequences will be. Studying, working on the app, and delivering orders was hard.
My legs are already falling off,
Marie complained. Mine too, I agreed. We made some money, so we decided to expand. We put out an ad that we were looking for a courier. The next day, there was a knock on the door of our room. I reluctantly stepped away from the computer and opened it. In front of me, the most handsome guy I've ever seen. His beauty made me literally speechless.
May I?
He asked. Huh? Was all I could get out.
I'm here about the ad. Do you need couriers?
Do you have experience? Before I could ask the question, Marie appeared from behind me.
Come on in. You're hired.
Wow, cool. The guy responded.
My name is Brandon, by the way.
So our team got bigger. On the one hand, it made life easier because all the physical parts of the job fell on Brandon's muscular legs. On the other hand, there was another problem. Both Marie and I really liked our new delivery guy. To put it simply, we were crazy about him. Maybe because neither of us have ever had a boyfriend before. I wish we'd argue about money instead of a boyfriend. It wouldn't have affected our work so much. Since the idea of hiring a delivery boy was mine, I thought Brandon should be my boyfriend. Marie, on the other hand, was of the opposite opinion.
I see the way you look at Brandon,
my friend said.
But it won't work out for you. He likes girls with long hair, and you have short hair.
How do you know that?
He told me himself.
Marie,
you have beautiful hair. I like it.
Don't make this up.
I'm not making it up. That's exactly what he said.
It was terribly distracting. I had to watch Marie all the time to make sure she wasn't hitting on Brandon. But she had time to do it anyway.
Brandon, would you like some water? You must be tired from driving so much.
It was bound to lead into an argument. My friend and I yelled at each other for a while and called each other mean things. And we didn't talk for a week. Work slowed down a lot. And in the meantime, the orders were getting bigger and bigger. None of us wanted to give up Brandon, so we decided to just fire him.
I don't get it,
Brandon said.
I was doing a good job.
Yeah, but see, we decided to change the delivery method somewhat. I tried to justify the fact that we just couldn't split the guy up. The fact that no one would get him was the best option. A few months later, we already had a few dozen delivery guys. That's when we had $5 million invested in our startup. Such large amount of money made our heads spin. Before that, we were a small company, which at best was breaking even. And now Marie and I were millionaires. With the money we made, I bought myself a big house. Finally, I wouldn't have to share a room with Marie, even though it was fun. To celebrate my success, I took my parents out to dinner. where I told them what I was doing and that I was kind of rich now. Dad wasn't impressed.
Why do you need such a big house? And I don't understand why people have to rent toys. It's just stupid.
And why can't you give them away for free?
Mom asked. I didn't know how to answer that question. Leon, as usual, started talking about rockets, which made my father smile. I didn't know what to do to impress my parents. The opportunity presented itself. There was a small pond near our house. Mom and Dad liked to walk there and watch the ducks. But some company decided to build a big hotel there, which made my father very angry. He went door to door to get neighbors to sign a petition to protect the pond. But nothing worked. By then, I'd made even more money. And when I heard about the hotel replacing the pond, I decided this was my chance. I found out how much the land was and offered more. The company was hesitant at first, but then they thought it would be easier for them. They wouldn't have to deal with the angry locals who were already picketing their offices. When I broke the news to my parents, they didn't believe it at first, but I showed them the contract and they gave me a big hug.
I guess I was wrong when I said you were doing something crazy. If you can do that, I think you've accomplished a great deal.
Those were the words of approval I heard from my dad. On the land I bought, I built a playground. Now adults and children could relax there. That's how we became a real close-knit family. And it turned out that you don't have to be the way your parents see you. It's enough just to be yourself. And it doesn't matter what you do. What matters is how much good you can do by doing what you love. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me?